Hello, everyone. Good day to all of you. I hope we are all good. So, for today, I will be discussing to you the competency based curriculum and the course design. What is competency based curriculum? The CBC is a plan for structured series of learning experiences toward achieving of competencies identified by the industry. It details training, methodologies, resources, facilities, infrastructure, and other materials required both for training and assessment strategies. It is a specification of the course a trainee will undertake to attain workplace competencies. It is also developed based on the training regulations. So, competency based learning is not a new trend actually, but has received much attention over the past few years as more institutions develop programs. So, CBE, or the competency based curriculum or education, has gained popularity with learners because of its flexible structure and affordability. And also, competency based learning or curriculum or education is very unique because it focuses on what students learn and not on the time spent in the classroom completing credits. So, first one is flexible. Competency based programs are very flexible as their structure depends on the individual learner. So, in flexible, there is no rigid schedule in these programs, no set semesters, and no classes. But instead, students guide their learning and control when and where they complete projects and assessments. CBE is also flexible in that it allows students to enter a program at any level. Second is self-paced. The focus of CBE is on the final outcome and not the journey. So this enables students to control their pacing because they are not confined by a set learning process. In self-paced, as soon as a student feels they can prove mastery, they can take an assessment, receive credit, and start on the next material. So next one is competency-based curriculum is affordable. The cost of competency-based programs varies by institution, program, and student pace. Actually, there are many institutions that have created CBC or CBE programs precisely as their strategy to increase learning and to lower the cost of education. And in these institutions, the tuition depends on how long it takes a student to complete a degree. And the faster a learner progress through the material, so it is not that expensive or it is less expensive, the program. Since many competency-based curriculum programs are offered online and leverage technology, operating costs are eliminated and resulting in lower tuition fees. Lastly, we have the skills-based. One of the key benefits of competency-based curriculum is that learning centers on real-world skills and competency development. Programs are designed around competencies that are needed for a particular career, ensuring that the material is relevant. The outcome that students are workplace ready and have expertise in their chosen fields. For many students, CBE is a direct path to a successful career. So employees also value competency-based education or curriculum, and so they are in skills-based. These are the programs that were designed around competency, which are needed for particular career, ensuring that the material is very relevant. Next is engaging. So one of the strongest outcomes of competency-based education or curriculum is increased student engagement. The students are more engaged in the material because they have ownership over their learning. Students are empowered because they have control over when, where, and how they learn. And competency-based curriculum also promotes individualized learning and accommodates a variety of learning styles and making it a truly personalized experience. This experience increases engagement because content is tailored to each student. Next one, we have here the course design. So course design is the process and methodology of creating quality learning environments and experiences for students. Meaning, course design through the deliberate and structured exposed to instructional materials, learning activities, and interaction, students are able to access information, obtain skills, and practice higher levels of thinking. So in course design, the focus of course design is to put together the optimal learning experiences for students, which is in an environment that is supportive and appreciative of learning and intellectual development. Also, course design is the process an instructor must go through at the start of any course to plan for successful student outcome. So if you, as the instructor of the course, and want your course to be more effective, there are few questions that you must ask before you even think about objectives, about the activities, about the assessments, and constructing a course syllabus. This is to being you need to determine your values, basically or specifically the teaching philosophy, who your students and course are. Of course, you need to determine them, and we call that as the situational factors. And also we have the overarching goals. Determine the overarching goals for your students, what you want your students to understand, and the essential questions your students should be able to answer by the end of the course. In course design, we have different steps. And step one is right learning outcomes. Well, written learning outcomes will specify what learners will need to know and be able to do as a result of learning. In right learning outcomes, this will also help you select, create, and organize the content, activities, or instructional strategies and assessments of the course. Step 2 is to determine course structure. Using the learning outcomes and information from the analysis and blueprint, determine how you want to organize and structure various pieces of information and sequence the content. So we have here an example. Content should flow from basic and broad concepts to more complex and specific ideas. So content organization can be based on theme or related concept, issues, and topics. Also, we have options here, which includes the organize the content by week with learning outcomes for each week, subdivide into units and modules with learning outcomes for each unit or module. Appropriate organization and sequencing will help students feel the connectedness of what content and will provide students with what they need in order to scaffold the learning and meet the more complex learning outcomes. So that is all about the determine course structure. Step 3, we have determine assessment and feedback. So it is very important to think about assessment, evaluation, and also the feedback early in the design phase, as it may be easier to determine instructional strategies, learning activities, and learning materials, and also resources after you determine the main assessment for the course. Step 4 is to select or design instructional strategies. Now it is time to integrate instructional strategies into the course structure. Instructional strategies are methods and learning activities that are arranged and used strategically in order to maximize students' ability to learn. And we have here some of the instructional strategy, which includes the introduction or preparation phase, the opportunities to practice with feedback, and the assessment of performance. This is to expose students to subject matter, introduce them in demonstrating skills, to coach them and provide feedback to ensure students can perform to expectations, and provide the opportunities for students to collaborate, assessing learning and performance with feedback incorporated into the assessment activity. So it is the select or design instructional strategies. Step 5 is prepare your core syllabus. You should use the syllabus to communicate details. It is all about the course and to set expectation for students. We have the syllabus contents or topics, which includes the course instructor, the contact information, course description, course objectives, course resources, course assessment and evaluation, and lastly is the course schedule. And this is to make your own core syllabus for meeting the expectations of your students. Last step is to describe or design the course style, theme, and context. You have to decide on the course structure. This is organizing by week, the modules, or the units of the students. And now you can design style and theme also. So this can be done after you have a design for 1 or 2 weeks, modules, or chapters. First is to describe the course style or theme. And then second is to design elements which can help you facilitate the instructional strategies. And you may need to do this for the course as a whole and for specific learning outcomes. So those are the 6 steps for the course design. I hope you understand all the discussion or what is all about the discussion for today. Thank you for listening.
A pleasant day to everyone. I am Cindy T. Kioyo and I am going to discuss about the module of instruction. One of the components of competency-based curriculum or CBC is the module of instruction. First, let us define what is module of instruction. Russell 1974 defines module as an instructional package dealing with a single conceptual unit of subject matter. On the other hand, modules are designed to help students accomplish certain well-defined objectives. While instruction refers to the teaching methods and learning activities that a teacher uses to deliver the curriculum in the classroom. Under module of instruction, we have the following. First is the unit title. A unit title of competency which, when applied to work situation, can logically stand alone. It expresses in outcome terms. For example, is installing computer systems and networks. The next one is the module title. Module title is the name given to curricular unit and it should be associated with the unit of competency. Just like the example in unit title, it is installing computer systems and networks. But unlike the unit title, it focuses on the competency which when applied to work situation, while module title is the name given to curricular units. The third one is the module descriptor. Module descriptor gives brief description of the intention of the module, its scope, and the elimination. Example of this is, this module covers the outcomes required in installing, assembling, and testing computers and common peripherals. The fourth one is the nominal duration. Nominal duration or estimated or suggested number of training hours per module. Example of this is 60 hours to accomplish this module. The fifth one is the learning outcome. Learning outcome is a statement that specifies what learner will be able to do as a result of the learning process, and it should be written in an action statement, begins with action verb plus the object of the action. Example is the learning outcome 1, plan and prepare installation. Learning outcome number 2, install equipment or device system. The next one is the assessment criteria. Assessment criteria is a list of criteria by which the achievement of the learning outcome will be judged based on evidence. Specify the performance outcome the learner will be expected to demonstrate at the conclusion of the learning outcome. Examples of these are the following. First example is the installation planned and prepared to ensure that safety measures, policies, and procedures followed and that work is appropriately sequenced in accordance with the industry standards. The second example is the technical personnel consulted to ensure that the work coordinated effectively with others involved on the work site. The last example is the computer systems and network devices obtained in accordance with the established procedures and to comply with requirements. The next one is about the content. Content is a list of specific knowledge, skills, attitudes, and safety that are necessary in order to achieve the specific learning outcomes. Examples of these are the following: safety procedures, basic terms, concepts, functions, and characteristics of PC hardware components, structure of operating systems, familiarization with the various computer systems, components, and peripherals, system configuration or setting of computer systems and devices. The next one is conditions. Conditions specifies the context of the training. These include list of tools and equipment, access to learning resources, and equipment manuals and types of facilities. Examples of these are: the students or trainees must be provided with the following: personal protective equipment, example is protective eyewear, anti-static wrist wrap. The next one is the electronic laboratory hand tools such as assorted pliers, assorted screwdrivers, soldering iron, and desoldering tool. Let's proceed on the methodologies. One are combinations of different learning approaches, methods, and techniques to deliver learning activity or activities which are consistent with CBT principles. Example of these are lecture demonstration, self-paced, and group discussion. The last one, we have the assessment method. The methods used to gather evidences of sufficient quantity on which to make sound judgment about trainees' competency. Assessment methods include observation, demonstration or simulation, questioning, and written test. Example of these are demonstration with questioning and written examination. Thank you for listening, and that's all for Module of Instruction.
Good day, everyone. I am Roslyn J. De La Torre. The topic I was to report is the characteristic of a learners. The concept of learning characteristic is used in the science of learning and cognition to designate a target group of learners and define those aspects of their personal, academic, social, and cognitive self that may influence how and what they learn. Characteristics. One important part of planning a training session is to analyze trainers so that the training suit their first is ability level. And the next characteristic of learners, learning styles and preferences. As a key part of definition, teachers should establish their student readiness to learn, their learning interest and learning ability. Scoring learners' profile in these three areas arm teachers with the best strategy to teach a mixed ability classes. First is, however, it is important to understand that readiness is not synonymous with a pupil ability. Both can influence his or her motivation as well as external factors. In this post, we break down these three principal profile differences and what a high, medium, or low rating in each could translate to. And the next characteristic of learners is motivation. Referring to the levels of motivation a pupil possesses to learn. Learning interest will indicate how passionate learners feel about general and specialized subjects. A pupil with a low interest score could be feeling unmotivated due his or her academic ability to disruptive external factors and circumstances. And the characteristic of learners is interest, because they are the basis in choosing the methodologies to be used by the trainer. The teacher should assess his or her ability level to ascertain the situation that is impacting their motivation. Highly motivated student, however, could be a high academic performer across all subjects or a pupil with a specific passion for a specialized subject. This type of student should be encouraged to pursue his or her passion to prosper in future.
Everyone, my name is Carmina Cobaco from BTVTED 4F I'm going to tackle about the trainees' characteristics. Trainees' characteristics to be considered when planning a training session. Learners should have a characteristics. So the first characteristics is language literacy and numeracy, or LLNN. LLNN has an impact on the methods you can employ as well as the activities and the tasks that are appropriate for the training and the trainee. LLNN are integral skills required for the task and are therefore an important component of training. LLNN relates to how we communicate with each other. The second one is cultural background. So, the cultural background, there may be activities that we choose which are inappropriate because of cultural background and practices. As a trainer, it is important than ever to understand the cultural backgrounds of the trainees. As a trainer, you should be aware of different cultural backgrounds and practices. So, the third one is education and general knowledge. General education levels are helpful for you to know at what level to teach the delivery of the session. Education and general knowledge, the trainers help the trainees to know at what level to teach the delivery of the session. The fourth one is gender. The whole plan is affected if you have a group of all male or a mixture if there are activities that involve demonstration, role play, and so on. So the trainers should provide tools on how to integrate gender-sensitive and transformative initiatives within the main core of a development program. The fifth one is age. Age can affect the plan depending on what is delivered, how it is delivered, and what at pace is delivered. So the trainer should understand that the trainees are not isolated individuals. Next is physical activity. Physical ability. Be aware. Here in these characteristics, the trainers should aware to the trainees who are not able to perform well to the task. First experience with the topic. Different levels of experience can be useful and to plan well ahead. Here, the trainer should know who has what experience so it can be used to and for the other trainer's advantages. Next is previous learning experience. It is helpful if you have knowledge of trainees' general attitudes towards learning. So, in these characteristics, it will assist the trainers in determining what the trainees actually learned in the prior task, and it will be advantageous if the trainers are familiar with the trainees' general attitude toward the learning. The next one. So the next one is the training level complete. This helps you identify the other trainings attended by respective trainees. And special courses. During their training, the trainer may use the learner's special skills and abilities in various unique arrangements and assignments. And the last one is the learning style. A trainee could be a auditory, visual, or kinetic. First, other needs. These characteristics relates to any specific requirements that the trainees may have. For example, a schedule for a working student, a schedule for their household chores, a single parent, or any other activities that they have. And that's all. Thank you and stay safe.
Good day everyone, my name is Elisa Miranda. I present my report about learning style. Visual learner. The visual learner will often lose focus during long oral lecture, especially if these are not accompanied by drawing and illustration. The visual learners take mental picture of information given. So in order for this kind of learners to retain information, oral or written presentation of new information must contain diagram and drawing, preferably in color. The visual learner can concentrate with a lot of activities around him and will focus better and learn faster in quiet study environment. So meaning, may mga learners daw na madalas mawala yung focus nila sa pakikinig kapag mahaba yung oral lecture kaysa dun sa oral lecture, kasi may mga visual learners kasi na mas nakukot yung attention nila kapag may pinapakitang drawing or illustration. Mas nabibigyan na sila na-attract kapag may mga image na pinapakita. For example, pumunta sila yung isang learner nag-attend siya sa isang seminar. Mawawala agad habang tumatagal yung pag-discuss doon sa seminar, nawawala yung focus niya. Kasi nga, wala nga naman pinapakitang picture. Paano naman makakot yung attention niya? Or, masisiyahan siya dun sa, kung puro lecture, pero wala naman pinapakitang, mga image or mga nakaka-encourage para makinig. Dapat may mga, mix din, dapat may image din na pinapakita para yung focus nandun pa rin. Hindi lang basta lecture, wala naman nakikinig. Mas nawawala yung pakikinig kasi puro lecture lang. Kasi sa mga visual learners, need din naman nila na mas sila kasi mas sa mga learners kasi mas sila pag may mga image na pinapakita, mas mabilis sila matuto, then nakakukot agad nila yung attention nila. Sabi nga dito, oral or written presentation, new information must contain diagram, and sa mga learners daw, mas sila kapag may diagram and drawings na pinapakita, mas natututo agad sila, mas may nakuha agad sila na bagong information. Then sa visual sa mga learners daw, hindi sila nakakapag-concentrate sa mga activities, pero nakaka-focus yung attention, mas maayos yung attention at mabilis, yung focus nila, maayos yung focus nila, tas mas mabilis sila matuto kapag tahimik daw yung pinag-aaralan nilang environment. Yun, visual learners are often, sabi dito, ito yung mga bibihira mo lang makita o mapansin sa isang visual learners Kasi may mga learners kasi na, may mga visual learners kasi, ito yung mga bihira lang I mean, ito yung mga visual learners lang na bibihira mo lang makikita. Ito yung good speller. Ito yung talaga yung kapag may pinakita kang image, alam na agad nila yung yung name, tas alam agad nila yung spell. May mga kasi, may mga learners kasi kahit lecture lang, kahit walang image, alam na agad nila kapag sinabi nila ganyan, ganyan. Agad, alam nila agad yung pangalan, tapos alam nila agad yung spell. Tapos may mga din naman na mabilis sila magbasa. May mga visual. Ito yung may mga bihira din naman ang learners na mabilis magbasa. Then may mga ito din may bibihira din na magaling siya tumingin ng big picture, malalaking imahe. Pero pag maliliit na bagay na or maliliit na bagay nakakalimutan niya. May mga learners din na magaling siya makakilala sa mukha. Pero nahirapan siya na maalala agad yung pangalan ng isang tao. Ano ba sa isang classroom, ako yung teacher. Alam ko yung ginagawa mo, alam ko yung mukha mo. Titingnan ko lahat ng mga mukha. Pero hindi ko titingnan ko kakabisaduhin ko yan lahat. Pero hindi ko malilito pa rin ako sa mga name. Nagkakaiba-iba pa rin kasi hindi naman ganun kabilis yung teacher na agad yung pangalan sa sobrang dami ng estudyante. Next is visual learners will benefits. Ito yung mga benefits ng mga learners. Color-coded notes during using drawing to illustrate. Ayun, may gumagamit sila ng drawing para talaga matuto sila sa lahat. Tapos may outline information. Meron din using mind map and flashcard. Yan lang. Thank you for listening my report. God bless everyone.
Good day everyone, I am Maureen Martos from BTV 4F that will be discussing about kinesthetic and auditory learner. Kinesthetic learners, the first bullet is gifted performers, which means the kinesthetic learners are someone who needs to be actively engaged in their learning. The second bullet is described as the students in the classroom who have problems sitting still and who often bounce their legs while tapping their fingers on the desk. And that are some of the characteristics of a kinesthetic learner, such as they are moving around a lot, prefer not to sit still, and they learn when physically engaged in hands-on activity, and etc. The third bullet, yes, they are often referred to as hyperactive students. That is because of their learning style. To get the most of an education, the kinesthetic learner can first, yes, it is because they only learn when they are physically engaged in hands-on activity, so that they are allowed to choose any classes they want. Study with loud music in the background. It can help the students focus on their learnings, and it is for them to feel more energized. Using memory and flashcard, because the learning style of kinesthetic learner is the combination of visual and auditory style of learning. The fourth one is study in the small group, because students are typically working in a small group, searching, understanding, and creating a product. The last one is taking breaks often during study. It is because kinesthetic learners struggle to stay or sit still for a long period of time. That is why you have to give them time and more break for them to participate in the class. Again, kinesthetic students learn most effectively when they are engaged on hands-on activity. Next is the auditory learner. Oral presentations are crucial for understanding a subject, as the kind of learner has the ability to remember speechless and lectures in detail but has a hard time with written text. For example, you presented a long text in the board and it will not be retained by the auditory learner unless you read it loud enough, since here, student learns most effectively by hearing or listening. The auditory learner often has first strong language skills. Since auditory learner is a good listener, most commonly, if the information they heard is correct and they can able to expand their knowledge of a certain topic, they can have these strong language skills. The second is a well-developed vocabulary because auditory learner depends on listening and speaking as their main way of learning. The third is if the directions are clear and you read it loud enough, they can able to follow the directions well. The last, a hard time remembering faces but easily remembers names. It is because they prefer to hear and recite the information they heard rather than visualizing pictures or faces. For the auditory learner to get the most out of classes, it can be helpful to first record the lecture for them to be able to repeat the discussion easily when they are not sure about what they heard. Use word associations like rhymes and etc. to help their memorization. Third, it is for them to be able to understand the lesson by listening to the audio tapes. Next is reading the notes loud and clear for the learner understand the information. Last, since they learn effectively through listening, they can sit in front of the class nearby their teacher so they can easily access or hear the information about the topic clearly. And that would be all for my topic. I hope you understand and thank you for listening. God bless us all.
Good day everyone, my name is Jobely Sarad, and for today's topic, we will discuss about the Kolb's Learning Inventory. So what is the Kolb's Learning Inventory? It is a learning styles which describes a learning process and a style with the emphasis on the need for learning to be grounded and experienced and the importance of a person being active in learning. It provides guidance in situations where learner differences play a role in communication and human interaction. So itong Kolb's Learning Inventory, ito yung nagpo-provide ng bawat ginagawa or ina-act ng bawat learners. So bilang individual, meron tayong kanya-kanyang communication and human interaction. Halimbawa, may isang bagay na nasira. Kunyari, lamesa. So, bilang learners or bilang tao, ano ang gagawin mo? Ito ba ay aayusin mo kaagad-agad? Ito ba ay gagawan mo muna ng solusyon bago yung aksyon? Or ikaw ba ay kukuha muna ng mga idea sa ibang tao bago ito isagawa, bago ito ayusin, or ito ba ay gagawin mo agad-agad nang walang pahintulot ng iba? So dito malalaman natin yung apat na learning styles na meron ng isang tao o meron ng isang learners. So noong 1992, sa United Kingdom, hindi ko siya nalagay bumuo sila Honey and Mumford ng isang model of learning preferences na nanggagaling sa konsepto ni Kolb's. Ito yung activist, reflector, theorist, and pragmatist. So first, we will discuss the activist. So, they learns by having a go. So, they perceive information concretely and process it actively. They integrate experience and application. They learn by trial and error. So, itong learners na to, ito yung more on nagtitake ng risk sa isang bagay or sa isang decision na kanilang gagawin. So, ito yung mga type ng learners na kapag nalaman nila yung isang bagay is gagawa agad sila ng action. Katulad ng example ko kanina. So, yung mga activist learners, so sila yung gumagawa agad ng paraan. Gumagawa agad ng way para ma-solve yung ganong problem. Halimbawa, nung sa lamesang nasira. Kung ikaw ay isang activist na tao, ito is agad mo nang aayusin. kunyari nasira, agad mo na siyang ayusin na hindi mo iniisip kung ano yung magandang solution doon. Kumbaga ayun nga, learns by having a go. So nagaano sila sa mga they learn by trial and error. So they believe in self-discovery. Unlike sa iba pa nating mga topic later, meron dong isang type ng learners na nagde-depend siya sa theory or sa mga iba't discovery. So itong activist learners, sila yung naniniwala sa self-discovery. So they are enthusiastic about new things. They are adaptable, even relish change. So they excel when flexibility is needed. They often reach accurate conclusion in the absence of logical reason. So sila din yung mga tipo na tao na naniniwala ayun nga sa self-discovery and sabik sila sa mga bago nilang matututunang bagay or kaalaman and agad nila tong ginagawa or isinasagawa. Next, we have the reflector. So, they learn most from activities where they can watch, listen, and then review what has happened. So, they perceive information concretely and process it reflectively. So, they integrate experience with the self. They learn by listening and sharing ideas. So, an example ko kanina, yung reflector, ito yung mag-a-ask muna ng mga ideas ng ibang tao bago niya gawin or ayusin yung nasirang lamesa. Ito yung mga reflector, mga learners na they can watch, listen, and then review what has happened sa chair na nasira. So, sila yung mga imaginative thinkers na naniniwala sa kanilang own experience. They excel in reviewing direct experience from many perspective. Nag-a-ask sila ng mga permission sa iba't ibang mga tao bago nila gawin or isagawa yung isang bagay. They value insightful thinking. They work for harmony. They need to be personally involved and seek commitment. So, yung mga reflector, ito yung mga type ng learners na natututo batay sa pakikinig at panonood. Sila yung may mga malalawak na kaisipan na kung saan is ang bawat kaalaman nilang natutunan ay kanilang i-share sa iba upang syempre makakalap pa ng mga dagdag na kaalaman na nanggagaling sa iba't ibang pananaw at karanasan ng ibang tao. So they are also observing other perspective before doing it. Next, we have the theories. So, learns most when ideas are linked to existing theories and concepts. So, they perceive information abstractly and process it reflectively. They form theories and concepts by integrating their known. They see continuity. They need to know what the exact thing. They learn by thinking through ideas. So, itong mga type ng learners is natututo kapag may mga yung bawat idea na mayroong pinagbabatayan is solid or may mga concrete na mga theory or konsepto ng ibang tao. So, sila yung mga type na learners na bago gumawa ng action is ina-analyze muna nila yung isang bagay and kumukuha sila ng mga kaalaman or learnings mula sa iba't ibang idea or filosofiya at dito binabatay nila yung mga gagawin nilang action sa theories. They depend on theories. And lastly, we have the pragmatist. So, learns most from learning activities that are directly relevant to their situation. They perceive information abstractly and process it actively. They integrate theory and practice. They learn by testing theories and applying common sense. They are pragmatists. They believe if something works, use it. So, ito yung mga type ng learners na masigasig. Ito yung mga sumusubok na mga bagong idea, mga bagong theory or mga technique upang malaman kung ito ba ay gagana or mangyayari sa kasalukuyan. So, sila yung mga tipo na tao na gusto agad mauna at sumubok ng isang bagay na kanilang mismong iniisip. And that's all. Thank you for listening.